My name is Glenn Smyth, founder and CEO of Agile to Agile. The topic for today's video is why you need enterprise architecture. I'm going to go through 4 different reasons why you need enterprise architecture. For the first of them, let's start with our definition of enterprise architecture. Enterprise architecture is fundamentally about alignment, aligning your business design, your people design, your technology design so that together they can deliver on your business intent. So the first reason why you need enterprise architecture is a simple one. Why wouldn't you want these things aligned? In fact, in our view, the reason that most organizations are inherently fragile and resistant to change is because of misalignment of those 3 design disciplines. Which leads us nicely into our second reason why you need enterprise architecture. Enterprise architecture is fundamentally about turning strategy into execution. In Agile to Agile language, your business intent defines what your organization wants to achieve over the period of its strategic planning horizon. Enterprise architecture then takes those next steps about how we turn that strategy into execution. It answers the key questions. What in our current environment is preventing us from delivering on those outcomes? What are we missing from our target state? And how do we transition from our current state to our target state, making sure that we deliver business value on every step on that journey and cater for tactical imperatives that they exist for the organization. So my question for you without enterprise architecture is how could you systematically, rather than by fluke, design a program that's going to execute your strategy for you? And that leads us into our third reason for enterprise architecture, which is around our value proposition. The value proposition for enterprise architecture, in our view, is that it enables you to execute your strategy with confidence while minimizing total cost of ownership and risk and maximizing your future agility. Now, if you unpack that value proposition, it shows that enterprise architecture is actually of value to all senior executives in an organization. Obviously, the board and the CEO are inherently interested in making sure that the strategy gets executed successfully. Total cost of ownership and minimizing that, naturally, is a core interest to your chief financial officer. And minimizing risk and maximizing future agility is actually probably of interest to every member of the C-suite, but is of particular interest to your chief operating officer. And if you happen to be in the financial services sector, to your chief risk officer. So those of you like are the first three are hard reasons why you should need enterprise architecture. For the fourth and final reason, I'm going to go to an analogy, and actually this analogy is described on this webpage. Sarah Winchester, the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune and the granddaughter of the inventor of the Winchester rifle, unfortunately went slightly batty towards the tail end of her life. She was utterly convinced that all of the ghosts of everybody who'd been shot by her grandfather's rifles were out to get her. As a result, she spent the last 38 years of her life constantly making changes to her house. She had 37 builders working for that period, and she'd wake up every morning and say things like, "The ghost tried to get me through that door last night, can you please block off that door and put another door into this room so they won't be able to find their way in." As a result of all of these changes that she made over this period, ad hocly, every single day coming up with something else that she needed to be fixed, she ended up with a somewhat unique property. So there are chimneys with no fireplaces, fireplaces with no chimneys, there are rooms you cannot get to, in fact an entire cellar that's completely unavailable. There's a bed with a skylight. When you look up at the skylight, it just shows you the bottom of a bed above it. And my personal favorite, having visited the place, is that by the tail end of it, the builders had realized that it didn't really matter if anything didn't work or not because she was never going to use it. So there's things like gravity-defying plumbing. So the plumbing would come out of the bottom of the sink horizontally or vertically, go across horizontally, and then vertically up into the roof, like there was any chance that was going to work if she ever turned it on. So after spending in $1890, $5 million, probably close to $500 million in today's money, she ended up with a house that is the building equivalent of what we are unfortunately all too familiar with in our industry today, business and technology systems that are intertwined, a spaghetti architecture or a furball, depending on your preferred language. Now, it's obviously a self-serving statement for enterprise architecture, but the lesson from this analogy is we would never do this with our homes, and yet we continue to do it in our business and technology systems and expect a different outcome. We shouldn't be continuing to do so, or if we do so, we as Einstein would say, continue to do the same thing and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. So if you'd like to learn more about our view of enterprise architecture and specifically how it might be of value to your organization, please check out our value assessment services on our webpage and contact us. Thank you very much.